People, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. This is your Chelsea Arsenal review. Honestly, I think I think this game ended in a fair draw. I don't think either team did enough to win. So it's still disappointing though for me. I feel like if we had gotten the 3 points here, we would have been a lot closer to Man City, 2 points away, and the gap between us and Liverpool would have been a lot better. Um, but nonetheless, we're still third, going into the international break, which is kind of good. But hmm, just on the game itself, like I honestly felt like both teams were being very defensive. You know, I think both teams were it was like a boxing match almost. Like both teams were kind of feeling each other out. Both teams didn't really want to commit. Um, and I think at the end of the game, like 1-0 is a fair result. It's not like it really helps either of us. But coming from like a losing position to to getting a point out of this, I think I would say that was in a bad result. But let's get into the game, right? We started off with Sanchez and goal. Gusto, Fafana, Caldwell, Cucurella finally came into left back. And I think for the most part, that's something that we've been asking for. We've been asking for that. Like, I think the whole Gusto, you know, left back, Gusto, inverting, it just really wasn't it. So we definitely wanted to see what else like Cucurella would have brought to this team. And I'm glad that he played. Midfield was Lavia, Caicedo, and as predicted, it was Neto, Palma, Madueke, and Jackson up front. Arsenal started with Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Timber, as predicted. And we knew Arteta was bullshitting when he talked about Rice might not play and all that good shit. Like we knew it was all lies because Declan Rice, if he has to be injected to play this game, he would. So he played. Odegaard played as usual. That front three, Saka, Havertz, Martinelli. I mean, Martinelli got the goal, but it's just not good enough. Ultimately, not good enough. I think like when you look at possession and shots and all of this good stuff, I think both teams were kind of similar. Can't really say like, oh, Arsenal like dominated this game crazy, like Chelsea dominated crazy. I think it was very similar. Ball possession, we had 49%. Arsenal had 51. At some point, we had like 60 something, and Arsenal had like 30 something. So again, it's not like Arsenal really, dominated. Expected goals, we had 1.28. Arsenal had 0.99. So it feels like we were expected to convert more of our chances, and we didn't. Total shots, we had 17. They had 13. We had similar shots on target, 3 each. Arsenal created 4 big chances. We only created 1. They missed 3 big chances. We missed 1. Stuff like that. So let's talk about players who kind of stood out for me in this game from both teams, right? Um, Again, Sanchez, before this game even started, we were talking about like Sanchez being liable for us not getting anything out of this game. I think we all anticipated like Sanchez was going to have a mistake in him. And of course, game done at your near post. Not good enough. Not good enough. I'm sorry. Like, just cover that post. If he goes across you, he goes across you, he converts. That's just it. But game beat at that far post. And I mean, look, credit to Martinelli for even putting the ball in that position because other people might have tried to like square it back across, try to hit it too hard. He plays there perfectly, but I'm sorry, Sanchez should have done a lot better. Our defenders, I think Fofana had a better game than Cole today. Usually Fofana is catching, he's more of the guy who's being talked down on in a way, but I think today's game, Fofana was better than Cole. That's just the reality. He did better. Gusto, awful game. Gusto was terrible, honestly. I genuinely think Gusto was probably one of our worst players on the pitch. And this is very concerning for me. I think like the way Gusto's been this season, I don't know, bro. It's I don't know how to explain it. It's like today he was playing as a right back. He was still inverted into midfield. But last season, Gusto got like what 9 assists, I believe. No goals, he had 9 assists. So in terms of contributing going forward, he was pretty good. But this season, it's just his crosses are just bad. They can't really clear the first man. I honestly don't know what's going on with Gusto, but I think after the international break, I would like to see what adjustments Maresca is going to make because this is not good enough. I mean, I can understand why Reece James didn't start. You don't always have to start James in these games. Like you really don't. Just let him work himself back to fitness. We as Chelsea fans, we kind of understand like, yeah, this guy's body might not be able to handle, that kind of workload. And unfortunately, that's just the reality we're facing now. But Gusto's got to do better. Midfield, today wasn't really Lavia's game either. I don't think he did that great, to be honest. I think that midfield today was really solidified by Caicedo. Caicedo was that one guy who just he kept us moving, tackling, interceptions, pushing the team forward. And honestly, like him having that captain's armband for me, it feels like it's giving him like a sense of like responsibility. And I think he's really growing into that role. Caicedo's really showing those leadership skills in the way he's playing and the way he's galvanizing the team and controlling that midfield and just making sure we're good. Neto for me, arguably, I wouldn't say he was my man of the match. If anything, I'll give it to Cucurella because Cucurella was immense today. I mean, Saka barely beat Cucurella when it came to his duels. Cucurella was 100% successful in his duels against Saka today. So that just tells you a lot. If it had been Gusto up there, do you think Gusto might have dealt with Saka a bit better? Probably not. When it comes to like tight, man market, aggressive, like being a nuisance, like Cucurella is one of the best. Like he can really be so tight on an attacker, like it just makes your life really uncomfortable. So to me, I think he was a man of the match. But Neto did his thing on the left and on the right. He put in some decent crosses for Madueke. Madueke should have, done a bit better. Put that ball on for Gusto as well. Gusto should have scored, if we're being honest, but he missed that as well. Palmer, kind of quiet game today. And like I'm starting to think like I know Palmer does ball centrally, right? But it's for me, he's picking up positions way too deep. I don't think he can affect the game as much when he's playing more of like the not playing as a six, but he for me he's dropping way too deep for me because by the time you get the ball and you pull it up, you've already given the opposition the chance to kind of like reorganize their defense. Defensive shift is back in order. I want Palm to be in those pockets, bro. Like he's dropping way too deep for me. Because thing is, you got to trust Caicedo and Lavia to get you the ball, and they will. Lavia could play that ball to you. Caicedo could play to you as well. Colwell could play to you as well. You know, A few times when Cole was playing that ball from the back into Gusto, Gusto just awful first touch, can't control the ball, doesn't know what to do with it, but those are the positions I want to see Palmer picking up those positions. So that way, n- I know that like, you're good. You understand what I mean? But Palmer today was non-existent. Didn't do enough, to be honest. I don't think he did enough. Madueke was one of the worst players on the pitch today. It's just really that simple. I don't think he did. How many times did he really take on his man and beat him? That was my question. Like, how many times did Madueke really take on someone and beat them? So uncomfortable conversations, but I think when we come back from the break, we're gonna have to see Neto on the right. Honestly, we're gonna have to see Neto on the right a bit more. Either Sancho comes in or Mudryk comes in. Jackson today, I think he picked up some good positions. They just did not find him enough for me. So it's frustrating. Palmer sometimes today was playing head down, which I really wasn't fucking with, but that's just, unfortunately, that's just how the game went. You look at Arsenal, Gabriel Saliba, it didn't feel like they had much to do today, to be honest with you. Like it just felt like everything on our end was flat. Um, we just didn't pose them too much of a threat. Their best player, arguably, Odegaard, came in, didn't look like he's missed a beat. Um, and that shows you how good of a player he is. Again, he's one of those guys I rate, but I think, Odegaard could do a bit more. But that pass to Martinelli, only few players see that, and Arsenal did their thing. They scored. We had to come back. That offside goal by Havertz. I'm so glad it was offside because the shithouser from this guy. I mean, for 3 years, this guy was just absolute awful. Like he had his moments, big games, he stepped up, but for him to be acting like this, nah, bro. We legit gave Havertz like all the patience, if we're being completely honest. We've given him the time, patience, the space to like just flourish and become this player. And for him to be acting this way, I mean, I gotta respect it though. You play for a different team now. You don't owe nothing to us. You know what I mean? If you score, you want to shush us, you shush. But just make sure that goal actually counts. So it's just the game was a bit just whatever, man. Honestly. It was really slow at times, when both teams wanted to step it up, they did. But other than that, it was just it was just that really. Standout performance, Neto, Caicedo, maybe Fofana, the three for Chelsea. Arsenal, you look at Odegaard, I'll say the two defenders as well. They did what they had to do. Martinelli scored the goal, but for me, he wasn't as involved too much. So can't really talk too much on that. But I think the game ended in a fair 1-0 draw, honestly. I think if either team won this game, it would have been kind of harsh on the other one. Not because like the other team played better or the other team played worse. It's just we were both just kind of just flat, and that's just what it was. So points is shared. We're going to the international break, and we're third. Arsenal are fourth on goal difference, and for the next 2 weeks, we just gotta just see who's left behind, who gets to work with Maresca a bit more, understand, how he still wants the team to play. Hopefully, some of our big hitters, Palma, Lavia, hopefully these guys are able to stay behind and just recover. Because Palma was playing like someone who wasn't really fit. And you could tell, you know, Maresca kind of kept those cards close to his chest because he didn't want to say if he was playing or not. But for me, the thing too is like the changes in this game were made way too late. You know, bring Mudryk in a bit earlier. take Palmer off, bring either Felix or Nkunku into this team because it's like the opportunities are there to do more. The opportunity was there to get more from this game. So it's for me, it's kind of like, make the change early. Don't wait till, you know, 3 minutes to go and you're throwing in Kunku on. What is this supposed to do with that? Like 70th, after you got that first goal, take off Palmer, bring in Kunku in, bring Felix in, and then go for it. If you lose, you lose, but we had the momentum. We came back, we had Arsenal a bit on the ropes. So that momentum should have definitely just been kind of enforced, not trying to, still kind of play for the draw. And I don't know, man. I think Maresca, he's being real suspect with what you call it, his substitutions. That timing has been really off. And hopefully it's something he improves on because, bro, you got options on the bench. You could easily bring in Nkunku. You can bring in Felix. So you decided not to do that. I got to look at you. You know what I mean? Like I have to look at you because you have options. Just take it, you know. But all in all, look, it was a good weekend for us. Some results went our way. Um, which look, I'm gonna go through those as well. Because I'm doing the weekend the roundup. So we'll start with Brentford, Bournemouth. I think with this game, I predicted a 2-2, I believe. I believe I predicted a 2-2 for this game. I thought it was going to be a high scoring draw. I said Bournemouth, away, their away form ain't the strongest. So I'm not expecting them to, you know, um, beat Brentford at home. But I didn't think they were going to lose this game either. But lost this game 3-2. Wissa scored on the 20. Actually, Bournemouth took the lead. Evan Nelson, 17th minute. Wissa on the 27th. Um, and then he hit them again on the 28th, but not before Clivett had, pulled it back and Damsgaard just finished it. So it's just, yeah, 3-2. Brentford take the win. And Brentford are going to be one of the teams we play after the international break. I think like our next run-ins coming up, we have to play Brentford, I believe, at home. And look, I know Brentford are going to be a very um, hard team to play against. Brentford do make things hard for you. Even when they come to your ground, the long balls, the route one, the long throw-ins. They don't have Ivan Tony no more, but they're still coping, and Buemo, Visa, these guys are still doing their thing. So it was an impressive win for Brentford. I did not expect Bournemouth to win this away from home. Now, if Bournemouth were playing at home, I probably would have said maybe. But yeah, 3-2 to Brentford. Crystal Palace, I went 2-1 to beat Fulham and they lost 2-0. Uh, Palace are in trouble. Palace are in trouble. They're 18th right now. They've lost 6 games and only won 1. So when I say Palace are in trouble, it's not even it's not an overstatement or it's not an understatement. This is like a big situation right now. They lost Olise, they lost Anderson as well, and they've not been it. They got Nketiah Eze. It's just yeah, he's been off of it for a minute now. So I don't know what's gonna happen to Palace this season, but I've always felt like they had enough quality to not be 18th. Um, like you still have Mateta, you have Eze, you have Wharton, you had Nketiah, um, Klein, Gahey, Chaloba. Um, like these are players that when you ask all these other teams would be looking at these guys going, "Yo, I'll take them in my team." So for me, I think it's just unfortunately what's happening to Palace right now. But they need to like start picking up some wins, or else Palace might get relegated this season for real. because they've just not been good enough. Um, Even when they played Liverpool like a couple weeks ago, I thought they kept it pretty, they kept it kind of tight. They kept it close enough. And I mean, they still lost that game eventually, but this is not good. Fulham, on the other hand, they are flying. They've been really impressive. Um, Smith Rowe is enjoying life in Fulham right now. I mean, Arsenal really could do with the Smith Rowe in their team because the guy is definitely adding goals to his game. You know, like Fulham have 18 points. They're seventh, 18 points. Like that's not bad at all, to be honest with you. And for a team that beat Newcastle, was it for me when I thought they were actually going to lose? Yeah, I've been impressed with Fulham and the performances and the results they've been getting. So that's some good stuff. West Ham, Everton. I think this game I predicted West Ham to get a 2-0 win. I believe so. Game ended 0-0. I'm sure for those who watched this game, they will probably tell you if it was a good or a bad game. But West Ham needs to win some of these games. West Ham at home should be beating Everton. Like if this was under Devin Moyes, I think they probably win this game like 3-1. Because for some reason, in games like this under Moyes, I felt like he had them just kind of ready to go. They played against the big teams. They always took the games to us. They did not let us kind of just have it our own way. And West Ham can be difficult to beat. But with the team that West Ham has this season, I think they have been one of the biggest underachieving teams, to be honest with you. Like you look through this team and you have some players that most big six teams would have wanted. Some players that have played at certain big teams as well. Like Bowen has always been kind of linked to Liverpool as one of the replacements for Salah if he ever decided to leave. And it just feels like this season he's not been his sparkling self. Todibo was one guy United were linked to. Todibo was one of the guys highly sought out after in Europe. So what's going on in this West Ham team? Wan-Bissaka, we understand that he's not really, the best offensive, defensive. He's not the worst offensive, fullback. He's not the best, but defensively, Wan-Bissaka is pretty steady, and you have that kind of solidity. If Todibo was as good as people made him out to seem, then they should definitely be able to keep a lot out and score some more goals. Kilman, I think they got from Wolves. Emerson, he's played for Chelsea, Italian international, can add something to your team offensively and defensively. Somerville was looked up, during the transfer window. A lot of teams are looking at Somerville as an option as well. Even I said like I would have been okay with Somerville, to be honest with you, but it's like he's just not kicked on, which is kind of weird. Somerville's just not kicked on, so it's sad to see um, his talent being wasted at West Ham like this. Paqueta almost made that move to Man City, and now he's looking like a scrub. So I think this manager really, um, he might need to go. Like he just doesn't look like he's able to utilize the talent. Suchek. A couple years ago, Suchek was one of those defensive midfielders that Bucks crushing, will get you goals, was a nuisance, problem. I mean, Antonio is always Antonio, but I think this team is just they got too many players, like too many good players in this team not to be doing a lot better. Like I just don't get it. I mean, Kudus was suspended, I think, for like 4 or 5 games, so maybe, but still, they should be putting this Everton team to the sword, and they just never did. So, 0-0. I did not get that prediction right as well. I think Wolves. I'm not sure. I think I went with 3-1 Wolves to win at home. The 1-2-0 against Southampton. Cunha again in the goals. And sooner rather than later, I think big teams are going to be looking at Matthias Cunha because I think he's, you know, let me not say this because certain players look like they're too good to be where they're at, and then they leave, and then they just become, s- big fish. Like right now, he's big fish in a small pond. He's supposed to go somewhere. Now he's what, the small fish in a big pond. So I think his level for now is Wolves. Um, I've heard United fans say they would like to take a punt on him. Um, and I think Cunha is a very busy player, in the midfield. He does what he needs to do. Very dynamic, industrious. He gets himself on the goals as well. But I think his level really might be Wolves ish. Maybe the step up would be like a Spurs, maybe a Brighton. But yeah, still a good player though. One of the results of the weekend for me was Brighton beating Man City 2-1. And Brighton really is not for everybody. Like when we played Brighton and we slapped them up 4-2, everyone was like, well, Brighton played a ridiculous high line and all of these things. Palmer scored 4 goals during that first half, 4 goals against Brighton. And since then, a lot of teams have come to realize Brighton are no joke. It took Liverpool, the best part of that second half to win that game. The whole time Brighton were in it. So, but I'll say Brighton beating Man City was not something I expected because like Man City have lost 3 games already, but I was not anticipating. They've lost 4 with this one. Um, and I was not anticipating them to lose this game to Brighton. So it's just, yeah, man. Man City, I don't know what's going on. I really don't know what's going on with them, but they are going through it. First time they've lost 4 in a row. They just didn't look up to it against Brighton. And again, Brighton got what their 2 goals, 78th minute, 83rd, and City just capitulated. Honestly, they just capitulated. And look, beating Brighton is really not for everyone. So, as Man City is still in the title race, of course, tells us you never count City out. But the biggest factor is you don't have Rodri no more. Rodri's out for the season, so he's not coming back anytime soon to improve this team's fortunes, to improve your defensive, solidity. Rodri has been clutch for Man City, winning them points after points, big performances. So him not being available this season, I think is really going to be the thing that does it for City. Now the question is though, and matter of fact, I'll leave it when I go to the next segment, but it's looking good for Man City. The lucky thing for City is we have the 2 weeks international break. Um, so they get to recoup, they get to regroup. Pep has 2 weeks to kind of figure out how to drag his team back into this title because yeah, with the way Liverpool are playing, you can't be dropping points. You cannot be dropping points with the way Liverpool are playing. So yeah. Next game, Liverpool Villa. Ended up being comfortable for Liverpool. Villa were playing this ridiculous, like risk game. Like, why would you have everybody push up when you have a corner kick? Like, I don't get it. They had like one person left, and that was it. And you don't do that against one of the best counter-attacking teams in the league. You don't do that. You don't do it against Liverpool. Like they will break on you and they will violate you. Twice they scored the same identical goal twice. First from Nunez and the second from Salah. And it's almost like um they didn't learn anything. You don't do that against Liverpool. When you have a corner, you leave some of your players back because once they hit you on that counter, it's over, bro. They twice, like all these goals could have been like avoided. These goals Villa were conceding, they could have avoided both of them, and they probably walk away from this game either losing 1-0 or like maybe walking away with a nil-nil. But that was suicide. That high line, it just it stunk. It stunk. And you can't do that against Liverpool. Like Liverpool right now are in a row. The best team for me right now in Europe, with the way they're performing. They're not losing games. They're not conceding. Hell, they're not even drawing games like that. They are being just dominant. It's like a steam train, bro. Liverpool are just doing their thing. So I did predict. What was that? What was my prediction? I think I predicted 2-1 to Villa. No, sorry. I predicted 2-1 to Liverpool, but Villa made this real easy for Liverpool to win. They made it real easy. It was just suicide. Honestly, this game was suicide, but impressive win again. Arne Slot, listen, if this guy goes and wins the league in his first season, some serious uncomfortable conversations with Arteta because don't get it wrong. Like, don't get me wrong. Liverpool have a good team. Okay. Slot came in, he's inherited a solid team. You ain't even need to do that. You ain't need to add that much. You added Chiesa, who we know is injury prone, but the foundation has still been the same. And without Allison, they're even looking better. So, Liverpool for me are going to be challenging for the league. They are the clear favorites for me right now. People don't want to admit it. If you don't, that's great. But I think they are the best team right now in Europe. They're just I'm envious of Liverpool because this is where I want my team to be. Just they're killers, bro. Like that's the thing. You give Salah one chance, he scores. I like Nunes. Nunes could have had like 4 goals in this game. That guy is he's the Uruguayan Timo Werner. That's it. The only difference is he has a bunch of tattoos and he has a man bun. Other than that, both of them are just awful. And Nunes is just an awful player. Like Nunes scores like the hardest chances, and then the easiest ones, he just does Nunes things, which is, as a Liverpool fan, I can imagine that's very frustrating and just weird, frankly. But anyway, Liverpool keep marching on. Now they're 5 points ahead of Man City. Okay. They are 5 ahead of Man City and 9 from Chelsea and Arsenal. I don't think Arsenal are going to be catching Liverpool anytime soon because they're going to need Liverpool to lose 3 games. They win 3 games and then start overtaking Liverpool, which, look, injuries are going to happen to all these teams in this league. There's going to be a drop of form everywhere. So a 3-game swing is not really, impossible. But at this point, it's really looking highly unlikely. Yeah, it's looking highly, highly unlikely. But I'd like to say this though. I think Liverpool are really a Mohamed Salah injury, suspension, out of form away from capitalize. Like everything will just come falling down because I'm looking at a lot of their goals. Okay. Salah's not only scoring, but he's being creative. Like Salah's right now, he's really creative back. And I don't know if he's heard of the Salah Hazard conversations, but like he's in his bag deep, deep, deep. Creativity is just it's just oozing out of him right now with that creativity. So if he's out of form, that's my thing. If Salah's out of form, I think Liverpool struggle. And that like you look at all these other teams who will still be able to pick up points, right? Liverpool will still be able to pick up points, but he's winning them games right now. And that's the difference. Like Salah is legit winning. Salah is just over here just winning them games. So that's just hopefully like he just honestly stays fit the whole season. Because if he doesn't, yeah, Liverpool are going to be in for they're going to be in for a season because the guy against Brighton, he scored that winning goal. Leverkusen, like Salah was just moving just different. Scoring the goal, the assist to Gakpo to put it to 2-0. It's just he really isn't his creative bag deep. So I think that should be the worry for Liverpool, if I'm being honest, because if you don't have Salah for a couple of games, then what happens? Not saying they're still not going to win points. They are going to get points, but I just think not having Salah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. But right now, best team in the country, best team in Europe. That's just the reality. Today's games, United beat Leicester comfortably, 3-0. Rude, 4 goals. I mean, 4 games, no losses. And it looks like United have remembered how to play somewhat of a resemblance of football. And they're still at this point, what, 13th, if I'm not mistaken? Let's see. Where are United? Yeah. United is still 13. They're 13th in the table, 15 points, 4 points off top four. And the beautiful thing about like the Premier League this season is you look at from fourth to what, even 13th, it's about 3 to 4 points difference, and then anybody can catch up. So it ain't like we're out of sight. We're still close enough, but now Amarin is gonna come in and we're going to see how United start to play, how they start to perform. Is he gonna go with the three defender system? How is United going to look? I don't know. It's interesting to see. But today they did their thing. They got the goals. Fernandez in the goals. Garnacho in the goals. Look, these are the kind of performances you need. You got to just keep picking up points to be close to the people ahead of you. After the international break, Almiron is here. So now I think that manager bounce finally actually starts to kick in. You're going to see these guys, their application is going to be a lot better. Their focus, I think, is going to be a lot better. Their delivery, their energy, their willingness to learn, I think is going to be there. This is a new manager, bro. At least for the first 6 months, like you have to basically kiss his ass. And that's not on no shady stuff. Because he's a guy that has been, given the keys to the crib in a sense. And Almiron comes in with respect. He comes with a winning pedigree. What, 5 trophies or 6 trophies in 5 years? He's been, competing in the Portuguese league for time now. Still very young, but he's coming in with a resume. So these players, honestly, are either going to have to adapt or they're going to have to be gone. That's just the reality. So I think once he comes in, that manager bounce is going to hit different, though. I think you're going to see United play with a lot more like energy, new ideas, determination. Like I think they're gonna have a new hunger in them because, bro, some of these players, man, listen, this is it. Almiron is like your last option because United that team needs a surgery anyway. Like it needs a big clear up. So if Almiron comes in and he goes, yeah, some of these guys ain't gonna be it for my future moving forward, then they're just gonna have to be moved on. But big, good win for them. It felt like it didn't really matter, but they still got points, but they just stayed in the same position. So we'll see how their future and their fortunes kind of change or move, in the right direction when we come back. One of the games I was really keeping a key eye on this weekend, Forest Newcastle, because Forest have been a very good team this season. I think we can all admit Forest have been doing their thing. They have been resolute defensively. They're getting on the goals, and they were in the top four. Hell, Forest was third before we kicked off our game this afternoon. Which after 10 games this season, nobody would have said, "Yeah, I saw Forest being third." But here they are. They're third in what you call it in the Premier League. So I gotta respect them. But ever since Newcastle beat us in that League Cup, they have caught life. I mean, their performances have been great. Their performances have been great. Since they beat us, they've won 3 games in a row. which Charity FC strikes again because we always somehow play against teams that are just not in the best form. And I mean, to be fair to Newcastle, right? Even before they beat us in the League Cup, like they had only lost what 3 games in like their last what maybe 7, 8. So it's not like they were awful. It's just they weren't scoring enough goals. But since they beat us, they've won 3 straight. Um, they Arsenal caught a body. We caught a body. Forest today at home got caught. And Isak is on his goal scoring form as well. He's getting goals in all these games. Joe Linton is doing his thing in midfield. Barnes just capped off that victory for them, and I think it's fair to say like it seemed like a very comfortable afternoon for Newcastle, and I really thought Forest were going to be a lot motivated based on the fact that like they're third in the league, so anything they do from here on out is going to be a bonus anyway. But Newcastle somehow humbled them 3-1, which again does help us move into the top four. So I'm not going to complain too much, but still, I see what Forest are doing, and I gotta respect them, man. They're doing the thing. Spurs, Ipswich. Now, if you saw some of like I was on this panel the other day. Was it? I think it was it Never a Foul, and Jay was talking about if what happens when Spurs go ahead of Chelsea, um, Chelsea and Arsenal this weekend because they're going to beat Ipswich. He said they were going to beat Ipswich. So for the next 2 weeks, who's going to catch the smoke? Is it us, Arsenal, or both of us? Or it turned out to be he's the one who's going to be catching heat because to lose 2-1 at home to Ipswich is diabolical. I am so sorry. There's no reason Tottenham should be losing to Ipswich Town at home. Nah. This is these are the kind of results that require people's paychecks to be docked a bit because Ipswich Town, who have what not won any game this season in the league, absolutely not, absolutely not, bro. They got their first win, and of course, it came at White Hart Lane. I watched the second half of that game, and especially what's his name, the kid we sent them from Chelsea, Omar Hutchinson. Hutchinson was just he took that team on his back and he was just keeping them moving forward. Like his performance in that game was very mature. Like for a young kid, listen, he had these Spurs defenders just on toast, and I'm very surprised about this result. This was big, 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 big for Ipswich. And I'm looking at Tottenham now. Like I'm looking at the fixtures coming up. Okay, I'm looking at the matches coming up. Um, they play Man City November 23rd. They play Roma. They take on Fulham, an informed Fulham team at that. They go away to Bournemouth. You already know what Bournemouth is like this season. Arsenal got smoked. City got smoked. And then they play Chelsea. So their next 5 games ain't even the easiest. It does not get any easier because I know they're playing Roma at home, but Roma has the heritage, man. And Roma can come through and handle business. So it's just, but yeah, Roma have been poor though. They've been poor in the Europa League. They're like, what, 20th? But still, I still think that game is going to be very difficult. But having to play City, and then a few days later you play Roma, and then a couple days later you play Fulham, who again, like I said, Fulham have been on it, and you would expect Fulham to be able to get something out of this. You look at that Fulham team; they have quality everywhere. You know, Jimenez is doing his thing. Smith Rowe, um, the kid with the left foot on him. What's his name? Elliot, I believe it is. Iwobi, Traore. Robinson. Look, Fulham are going to be a problem, and they go to Bournemouth at home, and I can honestly see them even losing that game. So I don't know, man. It doesn't get any easier for Spurs. I think this was the game that they definitely needed before that crazy run came up, and they lost it. So unfortunately for them, that's just what it is. And then, of course, the Arsenal Chelsea game finished 1-1. Spoil shared, nothing too crazy. But I'm gonna look at our next after the break, I'm gonna look at our next fixtures. I'm gonna kind of just look at the top four, top five, top six next fixtures coming up. After the international break, Chelsea plays Leicester. And then we play FC Heidenheim in the Conference League. And then we play Villa at home. We play Southampton away. We play Tottenham away. Damn. And then we also play FC Astana away as well. So I mean, these are winnable fixtures to be. Let's be honest. Leicester City, you would expect Chelsea to get all 3 points when they go over there. That's an early morning kickoff. We know how those go. It could really be spooky and a banana skin, but Chelsea should be going there to win. Should be beating FC Heidenheim comfortably. Chelsea Villa, we should be getting 3 points if we're trying to be serious. We should. Last season, we lost at home. This season, we should be slapping our full Villa at home. Southampton, you got to go there and win as well. They've not been on it. So you go to Southampton, you win. So I'm looking at 4 games in a row where you should be able to get 3 points in all of them. You go to Spurs away next, we should be slapping up Spurs as well because they're probably going to play that high line, and Jackson is going to be ready. Neto, is going to be on it. Palmer should be on some form by then. So we have some favorable results coming up. We should be good. When you look at Arsenal's next upcoming fixtures, they play Forest after the international break. That is not going to be an easy game. Right after that, they play Sporting. No Almiron, so maybe this game will be a lot easier for Arsenal. But then again, Sporting are no joke, and Sporting is playing at home. Against West Ham, Arsenal should be winning this game pretty comfortably. But then who knows? By then, West Ham might have a new manager as well. So the manager bounce might be on there for West Ham to cause an upset and really, really just put the dagger in. I'm thinking Arsenal against Forest after the international break is going to be where they're officially out of the title race, but it's a home game, so you never know. And then after West Ham, they play United at home, and we're going to see what Almiron is really about in this game. Is he going to be able to get the win? Is Arsenal going to slap him up? Like, we'll see what happens in this game. And then Arsenal play Fulham. So not again, they also have some fixtures coming up. Let's look at Newcastle's upcoming up fixtures. Let's see what they got. So Newcastle after the international break, they take on West Ham. I expect them to win this game. They're going to beat Palace, and then they're right after Palace, they play Liverpool, which again, they're playing at home. I can see Newcastle winning this game. So it's 50-50 on this, but we'll see. And then right after they play Brentford away, and then they play Leicester at home, and then play Brentford again at home in the EFL. So not a bad set of fixtures for Newcastle, to be honest with you. They can pick up some points. Forest play Arsenal right after the international break. They play Ipswich. Then they play City. They play United. And they play Villa. Like, Jesus Christ. That's some serious games back to back to back for Forest. Oh, yeah, they're going to be going through a run. And then they play Brentford right after, and they play Spurs. Yeah, that's some fixtures for Forest. Newcastle have West Ham, Palace. They got Newcastle. Sorry. They got West Ham, they got Palace, they got Liverpool, they got Brentford, they got Leicester. So again, kind of easy fixtures for Newcastle over there. United, see whether the fixture list is going to be looking like after the international break. They play Ipswich away. Again, Almiron, first game in charge. I expect them to really be up for it, so I expect them to win this game. And they play Bodo Glimt, they play Everton, they play Arsenal, they play Forest, Victoria Pleasant, and they play Man City. So some winnable fixtures. Bodo Glimt, they should be winning. Ipswich, they should be winning. Everton, they should be winning. Arsenal, they probably will lose or draw that game. They play Forest, very hard game. Should beat Victoria. So yeah, I mean, a decent set of fixtures for United as well. Liverpool, let's see who they got coming up in the next few games. Southampton after the break, and then they play Real Madrid. They play Man City right after that. They play Newcastle right after that. I mean, I expect Liverpool to beat Madrid. Madrid this season have not been it. They've been very disappointed. Mbappe is just honestly, I think it's kind of messed up the balance of that team, and they've just not been good enough. Um, Against Man City, look, I expect them to win that game as well. City have not been on it, and for Man City, that is probably the game that also potentially ends their title charge. But we'll see. I just don't think Man City have enough to claw up what like an 8 point gap, 9 point gap, 10 point gap. I think once Liverpool really hit that gap, I think it's over for Man City, man. So they play um Liverpool play Madrid, Man City, play Newcastle. I mean, these are three really tough games back to back to back as well. They get a reprieve against Everton. They play Girona. I expect them to win that game as well. They play Fulham. I expect them to win. So Liverpool's fixtures are very nice as well. Very nice set of fixtures. Um, Villa play Palace after the break. They play Juventus, play Chelsea, play Brentford, play Southampton, Leipzig, Forest. So again, some very strong fixtures for Villa as well. Juventus is going to be a tough game. I expect them to beat Palace. Look, I'm going to expect us to beat Villa when they come to the bridge. I expect them to beat Brentford, beat Southampton as well. Leipzig, that could go either way because that's going to be two styles kind of clashing. So honestly, for me, that game could go either way. And then they got Forest. So Villas also have some tough fixtures coming up. You look at Man City. Let's look at what fixtures they have coming up. Which look, Man City right after the international break play Tottenham. If Tottenham beat them again, that's twice already this season, and they really could well lose this game. Like they're playing at home, but they're not in great form. And I know Spurs would love to really just kind of let City have it. They play Feyenoord, play Liverpool, play Forest. They should beat Palace. They play Juventus. They should win that game. And they play Almiron, and we would see how that game goes as well. And then they play Villa right after that. So CE also have a set of fixtures coming up on them. So it's not going to be no joke. But yeah, man, that should be it for this video. Team of the weekend. Let's see if we can build team of the weekend really quickly. Let's see. I'm gonna go 4-2-3-1. Let's see. Give me 1 second. See if we can build a team of the weekend really quickly. For me, goalkeeper, I'm gonna go Kelleher. I think this guy was immense over the weekend. Sorry. The minutes of the weekend. Defenders, look, I gotta go. Konate and Van Dyke. Because I look, they're both playing out of their skin right now. Konate had a solid game of the weekend. Trying to think like who else could I really put in there? This is my team of the weekend. Van Dyke, Virgil, let's go. Left back, who do I want to go with? Right back, let's see. Mm, who do I want to go with right back? Actually, yeah, Cucurella. Cucurella left back for me. What is this? Mazarawi for me. How do I even spell his name? Mazarawi. There we go. I play Mazarawi right back. Midfield, I'm gonna go with Caicedo because this guy was a player today. Moises, let's go. I want to go Thomas Partey for this game. I thought Partey was pretty good, but I have to look at, you know what? Let's go Baleba. Let's go Baleba. I'm mowing this row. Left wing, who do we go with? Let's see. Hutchinson for me. Essentially, I want to be shameless and put Pedro Neto in there, but I don't want to at the same time. Who else had a good weekend? Let's see. Give me one sec. Let's see. Give me 1 second, people. Let's see. You know what? Let's go Isak as a striker. Let's go Isak. Isak has really been he's been pulling Newcastle through a few games recently. So I gotta respect that. And you know what? I will go Smith Rowe. Yeah, I'm gonna go Smith Rowe. And that will be my team of the week. And I'm going Smith Rowe solely because I think this guy's performances this season have been very good for Fulham. So here's my completed team of the week. It's a very mixed and matched team, but this is what I'm going to go with. I thought Hutchinson against Spurs was very positive for Ipswich. Big win. And he played his socks off. Baleba came on against Man City, did his thing in midfield as well. Caicedo today against Arsenal. Baller, worth all the money. Captain's performance just kept everything ticking. Mohamed Salah has to be in there. Isak scoring goals for Newcastle, um, winning them games, and Smith Rowe. I think he's been a very good signing for Fulham this season, and he's been kind of been very creative for that team. My defense, look, I went with Mazzarella because that guy has been pretty steady for United. Okay, he's been solid. Konate Virgil, that's my parent because these guys look like brick walls. It's impossible, and just bro, just doing this thing. So that's my team of the week. But yeah, that should be it for the video, people. That should be it. 2 weeks international break now. It's gonna be very boring. Those 2 weeks are gonna drag. We gotta wait till the Premier League season starts again. For some teams, the break came at the right time, especially for Man City. I think this is when they get the chance to go back, regroup, um, just get their shit together because this team is really looking like, how we were Palma FC. This legit is Rodri FC, and it's so evident. Like they're sorely missing his quality. If Rodri's playing, they're not losing some of these games. I'm sorry. So that's just the reality. But yo, people, this has been the end of the video. It's been a good weekend. All things considered, it's been a good weekend. I know Liverpool fans must be over the moon because listen, they look like the most likely team to win the league this season, and they should. They've been the best team, but we're only in November, so we'll see what the rest of the month brings. December. If Liverpool keep going like this in January and they're still top of the league, I think they should invest. Definitely, for that midfield because Gravenberg this season has been a serious player, right? But yeah, I think they need more, just a little bit more, and they should be fine. Defenders, I don't think they really need defenders. They covered on that side. If anything, maybe cover for center, like a striker, because Salah's mostly always going to be available, so you ain't got to really worry about him. But it's the Nunes factor. Like, yeah, you could play Luis Diaz up there, but again, we all know Luis Diaz does his best work out wide. But I'm not even gonna lie, I think Diaz playing that central role might be a lot better for him because all he has to do is get into the box and finish. So it might be working out for Liverpool. But yeah, people, if this is your first time coming across the content, like the video, sub to the channel, interact in the comments. I always respond back to the comments. I appreciate the support every time. And I'm gonna see you on the next one. I know it's gonna be a long 2 weeks, but that's just the reality, man. That's just the nature of the business. Unfortunate, but I'm gonna see you on the next one. Peace.